Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine.
You don't build a business, you build people, and then people build the business by Ziglar. Good afternoon everyone and to all senior high school learners who are now watching via FB Live at the Tayo Tangub and Astral Academy. I am teacher Genevieve from Tangub City National High School.
And still, your teacher are from Lorenzo National High School.
And
we are your teacher facilitators for today.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, maayong hapon, Ma'am Genevieve.
Yes. Alright, today we will learn another interesting topic in entrepreneurship course.
Yes, that's right. So, to keep in track with our third week in our learning activity for third quarter for the second semester.
So, nandito sa third week
yes,
sa atong learning activities. So, alright, learners, kindly prepare yourself learning materials for this week as we are going to discuss another topic in entrepreneurship course and the competency that is recognize the potential market by analyzing the market
Yes.
needs.
So at the end of this lesson or session, our senior high school learners will be able to recognize the potential market by analyzing the market
That's
need.
correct. So this topic is very important for you to learn because this is the start of the process
Yes.
for you will be able to produce a business plan at the end of the semester. Motion and requirements sa entrepreneurship
That's
course,
right.
yes, sir.
So, of course, by recognizing potential market will guide you to identify the so-called market problems and to be solved or the market needs to be met. So, this is very important. You need to recognize those potential market. Of course, makita man gud nimo dito ang gitawag na itong mga market problems. So, upon viewing on that perspective, so you can foresee the so-called market.
Problem.
Yes, the problem.
And then you will be able to
solve and of course you can
in order to meet the needs
that's
of
right,
the
Ma'am Jean.
markets. Yes. And also by knowing the needs of the buyers or the consumers is very important in business. So as you are dealing with the product like goods or either goods or services.
Yes.
So we see goods mo to magina-offer na mga products yung mga tangible. So
That's
makita
right.
nato. So may katag services katong mga mag-render of service in
Yes.
order to earn money.
Like
so
pareha na to, ma'am.
yes,
Services,
yes.
service ang atong gi-offer
Gina-offer,
in
yes.
exchange with our compensation or the
Right.
salary.
Okay, so another is kanang mga barbershop,
Yeah,
no?
that's
So,
right.
mga vulcanizing shop, so mga services ay ilang gina-offer sa
Yes.
ilahang mga clients or customers. So it also allows you to know the problems with the products that you are selling. So you
yes.
will know what kind of products are preferred by the customers.
Absolutely. So by knowing your customers, buyers, will help you to get the success of business.
Business.
So this is very significant
Yes.
statement if you are engaging into business. So
Okay.
you need to know your customers, perhaps your buyers.
Buyers.
Because the buyers are the lifeblood of business,
Yes.
and one of the reasons that business will become successful in the number of buyers.
Number of buyers.
Yes.
Exactly.
That is why it is very important for you learners to learn on how to recognize the potential market by analyzing the market needs.
Okay, so again, after the discussion, you will
Yes.
be able to recognize potential market by analyzing the market needs.
Okay, so to start, let us understand first what is market.
Market,
So
okay.
when we speak market, no, it has something to do with the place where buyers and sellers can meet to facilitate the exchange or transaction of goods and services.
Yes, in this
So,
definition, sir, so we're referring to a market, a place, no?
Yes,
Lugar, kung asa ang exchange of goods
like
or
if we contextualize the example, ma'am, like para visualize gyud sa
Sa
tuang
mga,
learners. So
shopping mall.
aha man tong market
Pwede po
diri sa Tanggob,
sa,
ma'am.
sa atong market, public market
Yes,
nato, sa Agora, di
and
ba?
we
So,
have
makita
also the
nato,
courtyard, no?
okay.
Nadala makita
So,
itong
muna
mga goods.
ginatawag
Yes.
na sa market in this definition.
Yes.
So where the selling and buying activity takes place.
Yes, that's right.
Sir, in entrep, so nasa kagulingong definition
Yes,
sa market. So sa entrep, so sa entrepreneurs, market refers to the sum or total or all buyers and sellers in the area or region under consideration. So means, so sa entrep, we are going to get the total
Yes.
of our buyers, more target market.
Yes.
Ba ang market nato kinsa sila, mga tao. We are
Probably
referring to
they
a
have
person.
identified buyers and of course ang imong mga sellers diri ma'am,
kinsa
no?
sila.
Yes.
Kumbaga, sa eskwelahan ba ka ha? Mga estudyante.
Yes.
So muna sa mga market nato.
Yes. So,
So,
padalitan kung naa ka sa imong lugar, na siyempre sa
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 itong barangay, sa San Vicente.
sa San Vicente. So, of course, ang
mga-
imong target dito is the
Yung-
people around on
Yes.
living in the
ano,
same barangay. Yes.
Okay, so another is the seller. So kinsa man yung mga sellers? So atong mga competitors.
Yes, that's
okay,
right.
mga competitors nato. So in that area, in that Pacific, under the
Consideration.
consideration. So another
Yes,
is the
we have also the potential market, no? So it is the part of the market that you can capture in the future.
So who are the potential markets? So ginatawag sila og include sa demographic
Demographic,
groups
yes.
that are not currently your customers but could become customers in the future.
That's
So
right.
potentially naslay mura gusto ka nang mura mag gina-foresee nimo sila as your market.
That's right.
Potential market in the future. Magamit nimo sila or sila may posible nimo mga market.
Yes, and we have also the market analysis. So it is something to do with the information about the industry,
Yes.
the customer, the competitors, and other variables. And also you can determine the relationship between the supply and
And
demand
demand.
for a
So,
specific
yun ang
product or service. So it is very basic when it comes to engaging in
In
business,
business,
ma'am.
yes.
You need to know
for-
and you need to learn
Yes.
the law of supply and demand.
Okay, so based on this insight, so you can make more informed decisions about a possible marketing strategies.
And for us to know what our market needs, though, when we say needs, these are referring to the necessities that rather than wants that refers to wishes or desire. No? So there's something to do with the things that we can still live even without that
So,
thing.
pasaysa na to ang needs, so ang wants or no, ang needs, katong mga basic commodities
Yes,
like
that's right.
foods, mga so water,
Yes.
or pwede na ang medication.
Oo.
Okay na
So,
siya.
ang
So,
wants,
katong
katong mga luxurious nga mga
luxurious. So, pwede tayo mabuhi bisag wala
yes,
siya. Okay. Okay, to know the needs and wants of the market, we have to solicit feedback from the customers at every step of the process, or by conducting the focus group, listening to your customers, or social media.
Yes, this is very important also, ma'am, because back then when I read some articles regarding the Jollibee no anong ingon sila ka success no internationally, nationally, worldwide. So they put suggestion box in there, no? So they keep on listening what is yes, the feedback from the customer, the honest feedback. Yes, so that's why the moment na makabasa sila dito og something to improve, yes, then they will accept on that. Yes, so
address o i-respond po nila
yes,
ang ginakinahanglan.
so nakita na dito nga ngun ato lang ginabuhat, they made a suggestion box dayon ila tong i-collect, then after collecting ilang i-dissect, ilang basahon, then afterwards if those suggestions are applicable to their business, then they will apply on it.
That's it. Okay, meeting customer needs is crucial for any business looking to retain and attract new customers.
Yes.
Diba? So, because as important as a discovery phase is, knowledge about what your customer needs from you is only as good as the way you use it.
Yes.
So, how do you meet customer needs?
Yes.
So, manato siya sa...
Okay, we will give you some methods of identifying the
Yes.
customer's needs, Teacher Jing, no? So, recognizing the customer's needs can serve as the first step to meet them consistently.
So, what is the first method, sir?
Yes, you need to ask questions.
Yes,
this is
that's
very
very
important.
basic.
Yes. Again, if you are engaging in a certain business, you need to ask questions. So, part of kanabang chit-chat, no? Part of the chit-chat will...
So, your prospect nga mga markets or mga customers.
So, it has something to do with the customer's need by asking them directly.
Yes.
So, you may use your service or... So, it could be written, no? So, dili lang pwede, I mean,
Oral,
yes, orally
oral
or written,
written,
no?
yes, sir.
Or in the store or online feedback, no?
Okay.
Kung
Makita
nakay
natin
Facebook
ito,
page, no? They will message lang sa imo kung sa ilang feedback, prompts and follow-up emails to gain this insight after customer purchase something.
Okay, another is review customer data. So, when possible, looking at your business historical customer satisfaction data can provide a more comprehensive picture of how you have met the customer
Yes.
needs.
So, we have also to understand that your customer is the key to success. So, I would reiterate this statement to the benefit of our learners. So, you need to understand your customer, that your customer, yes, is the right. So again, your customer is the key to success. There are some steps to be effective on targeting the customers analysis. So we have the segment existing customers that you already have. So when you know what clients you already have, you can better understand what clients you would like to have. Perhaps you need to group your clients by a certain characteristics. That's right.
Kumbaga, by age ba ka?
Yes, ma'am. According to...
By gender?
Yes, that's very significant also.
Segments. Okay, another is talk to customers to find out what makes them tick. Ano
Yes, that's why.
sila
Yes,
sa product o sa imong negosyo. So,
nanay sympathy sa imong negosyo. Yes.
So, sa ganong nagpabilin man sila. So, you can invest house researching online. So, pwede po nimo gamiton.
Yes.
And however, it's not until you speak to customers that will understand their true sentiments.
That's
so,
right.
Face-to-face, makikita
So,
ang customers.
yes,
Makita nimo.
like-
Ibawaan nimo kung unsa gyud ang imuhang
Yes.
pagpatunay sa imuhang product.
Yes, so casually you need to chit-chat your customers now for you to able to gain, of course, their kanang what makes them stick diya sa imo or satisfied sa imo business. And of course, we have also the use of existing customers' feedback. So it has something to do with the customers that already reach out to you when they need help.
Yes.
Are they happy with your product, or they want to make a complaint?
There's something kanang missing sa imong product.
Yes.
Kinahanglan sila.
So most probably kanang mga complaint kanang madugay lang gid og delay mga
madugay
nana
mo sa
or
service,
kanang
sa
og dabag ka sa
quality-
food
sa
para
quality
mga nana
of your
nana
product.
So, nanara. But anyway, there are a lot of kanang rooms for improvement. You need to listen, you need to do the feedbacking para ma-improve, ma-enhance nimo imong
para magamit pa nimo
business.
as one of the strategy para ma-improve or more success ang imong negosyo.
Kaya lahi magud dili magudbot pasabot nga kung mao na yung negosyo, dayon giawat nimo the same strategy that will be effective to the both of you. Dili man lahi mag best practices, lahi man og yes. The strategy. That's right, Ma'am Jing.
Okay, another is remember that this is an evolving environment. So customers are constantly changing. So since the start of the pandemic, so naitabo to karon, many people's preferred communication platforms have changed also, diba?
If you can notice nowadays nga dili naman ko kita makagawas-gawas, Ma'am Jing, especially if maabot na ta sa alert level 3 ang mga inalang.
Samot na ana yung mga
so the best mode of kanang communicating a certain quad through na lang internet. So that's why ipa-deliver na lang.
So muna siya lalang platforms
yes,
delivered. Even more people's values have changed. So mga styles na to or mga preferences na to. For many, spending time with family and friends has become more important than working hours or going after a big promotion.
That's right.
In this evolving environments, collecting customer feedback is the key. So, and you should undertake the customer segmentation.
That's right. So again, all of today's most successful business take steps to meet the customer's need early and often. And of course, moreover, for the modern marketer, taking strides to make sure that your customer's needs are met with help you align with the other internal teams and with your certain organization like your sales team, your customer support team, and also your product team. So with your whole organization operating under a cyclical process of anticipating, however, identifying and meeting customer needs, you'll see the results in no time. Yes,
so
that's right.
Okay, generally, a successful company identifies when a segment of customer is not effectively served by existing providers and develops, promotes product or services to match. Okay, na siya i-match ang needs sa mga market or sa mga customers. Because of business exists to give solution to the customers problem and meet their needs. So, mo ginatong pinaka-main purpose.
That's right.
Okay, dili man tawag matter sa atong gusto lang, but the wants or the needs of the market.
Let's say for instance, magtukod ka og kanang kuan, ang baligyan, simple nga baligyan ng isda niya. Ang imong location, ang imong demographical area is
dili siya accessible
within the coastal area ka. So meaning dili everybody of the people living on that barangay is nagsalig sila sa panagat na kuan. So probably dili gid siya mahalina. So you need to match your product
strategic ang place
to the people nga target customer
mo. Sa mga bukid-bukid ka.
Yes, that's right.
Place.
So, however, there are some business that are doing better now than before the pandemic. So, nga na ba, no? Blessing in disguise po sa uban, no? Kaya na po yung mga business karon nowadays nga nimboom pod. It's just because nasa lang dako na nga panahon, mas na-enhance nila ilang strategic planning, and of course, mas nahimong effective ang ilang marketing strategy. Yes, moreover, there are also companies with unforeseen products and services being invented or reinvented almost daily. Yes, because they keep on adjusting what is happening nowadays. Yes, that's right.
Para dili sila mabihan sa market.
Yes.
Okay. Products that have become essential to combat of challenges have led to new entrepreneurial ventures. So, karon nga panahon, ginalag yung face mask, ang demand, di ba?
Murag na siyang daily needs na to, ma'am.
Worldwide. So, sa face mask,
because we cannot go into public places without wearing our face mask. We have also to sanitize our hands, no? And of course,
sneeze guards. Okay, so or some of the many examples sa mga products nga demand karon nga panahon.
Yes, that is very demand. So, kaya appeal na siya sa atong daily living.
Okay. Right now, there are some entrepreneurs who are flourishing beyond their wildest dreams.
Yes. So generally speaking, in analyzing the market, you have to consider first the demographic and the segmentation. When we say demographic, it is the land, no, the land area. Kung asa nimo ibutang, no, which is the statistical characteristic of a human population based on age or income. So, of course, kumbaga, in
So, sa
tracing
product.
a certain location, you need also to consider the population.
Yes.
Then you will look also the income
Yes,
of
the
that.
level of income.
Yes,
Kasi
the
sila.
population. Kung based sa monthly ra ba ilahang
Oh,
salary
wage ra
o
ba, or
daghang
ilang-
mga negosyante
Oh.
dira. That's why it's very hard for us to put a certain kanang business kung ang population mostly sa usa ka syudad is nagtrabaho lang monthly.
Oh,
Kay makakwarta sila within a certain month. So, kinsa may musulod ana nga establishment nga among kwarta or the most of the people. Yes.
May ra po kayo ang iyang income.
So kung ikaw ma'am,
dili siya
kasal yung ka
maka-afford.
makasulod sa mall.
Dili siya
Probably, no?
maka-afford.
Oh.
So mo na siyang i-consider siya.
That's right. So
Okay,
you need to first consider the demographic and the segmentation.
Okay, so sa segmentation, sir, kay it is divided into segments by similar characteristics.
Yes, that's
Mga
right.
Senior citizens baka na sila, mga bata baka na
Yes.
sila. So sa imuhang product, imo na siyang gina-offer sa ilaha. Unsa imuhang i-segmentize nimo sa
Yes.
ang imong products. Okay, another is target market. So the type of the customers that are focused within the market,
Yes.
target market. So kinsa sila? Kinsa yung focus nimo? For example, mas estudyante ako focus,
Yes.
diba? So sa school,
Yes.
so mga students, so specifically mga female pa ka.
Yes.
Unsa
Also,
imong product?
most probably
Depende.
kanang ang trend karon sa to ang mga youth kay naaman sa mga, let's say for instance, mga milk tea.
Milk
So
tea,
mga
mas
fries,
ganahan
mga
sila,
inana,
ana.
ganahan man sila ana. So you need to
muna siya,
consider also on that.
the
Yes.
target market, considering the target market.
Yes, and number 3, we have the market need. So, first and foremost, you need to identify what the customers wants to classify their needs. So, that's why, mauta kong gingon ganina mga kinahanglan, the moment na if you are engaging into a business, you need to, you need also to consider your customer. After considering your customer, you need to look you need to look also kung unsa ilahang mga gusto.
Mga gusto.
Or unsa ilahang mga wants, no?
O, mga preferences nila.
Like para sa
diba?
to yung gingon ma'am nga sa those far lang barangays nga naa sa ibabang bahay nato. Dito kay layo man simple ang isda. So magtukod ka dito. Gamay nga isdaan, gamay nga.
Merkado ba?
Yes, oh.
Kaya,
So ingon na,
so,
you need to
targeting.
consider your market need.
Unsay panginahanglan nun. Dili
That's
kay
right.
maligya ka sa baybay nga daghang
Yes,
isda, no?
probably.
Kaya dili siya
Sino na
strategic.
nga ang halos tanan nga panginabuhi naa sa pangisda.
Okay.
So, sa pa man ilang paliton nga naa makuha man na nila.
Yes.
So, in vice versa, may bugas imong ibaligya.
Bugas mais.
Yes, that's right.
Another is competition. So, determining the competitors, positioning, and describe their strengths and weaknesses. Along run, there might be a hindrance to success. in
Yes, this is
venturing
very
the
common
business. Diba?
because
So, you're going to consider your competitor.
yes,
Okay,
especially
so,
kita mga Pilipino magtukod daan ng tindahan.
Tukod po dito,
Pila kasi mana tukod na po daan ni kay nakita niya nga daghan ang namalit.
ginanggang diri,
Oh,
ginanggang dito.
tinuod. So, basically, with in this
buhaton nimo.
statement, number 4, the category of number 4, ang competition, you need to learn the SWOT analysis. You need to
Okay.
identify the strength, the weaknesses, the opportunity, and the threats. Also,
Okay, in order to success.
yes.
Imong negosyo.
For example, in an investment, it is a project that requires a huge amount of capital for startup. So,
sanay siya kanang kapital.
Yes.
Amount mong gud siya. So, mura siya og
kana siyang murag dako ginani mga investment, ma'am.
investment siya no. Kumbaga.
If you need to, if you want to have a startup, a business,
Wala kay dako nga kapital.
na mao ginani siya. I-adjust mo ni mo negosyo ba.
Weakness siya.
Instead nga maghimo ka og kanang kuan, kanang sanay kanang super mix nga inana kanang unresolved ba kaya wala man kay kwarta so ginanggangan lang sa
ginagmay
nana
lang sa-
so
So,
at the end of the day in a way ang gamay ang dako nagsubod man na sa gamay yes so
dako in the future.
yes moreover technology is another barrier to entry wherein the application of the combination of the scientific and engineering knowledge for your business especially nowadays that the people are now computer savvy or digital natives man ba kumbaga yes technology. So you need to jive, you need to
hindi mo pabilin ka.
yes, dili gyud ka kay you will be left behind.
Kung negosyante ka, so kung mo dapat na ka sa active ka sa social media,
Yes,
diba?
that's right.
So gamit mo din mga
Mao
social
ginay
media
mga
to
mga
sell.
tools karon nga very effective kay kung imo lang i-share kung pila ka tawo mag-share ana ma'am, di mag-share pag ito siya din. Mahimo naman ito nimo sila may tigdala og mga tao para sa imong negosyo. The mode of advertising is very important,
Okay, so
especially in
pag
engaging technology nowadays,
Yes.
especially the media live streaming nga.
So,
So,
by using SWOT analysis, it helps you to understand internal and external factors sa mga sa strength or weaknesses,
Yes.
opportunity and threats that can make or break your success toward your marketing
Goal.
So, this is
Yes.
also an entrepreneurial tool determining the profitability of the operation. So,
That's
make your
right.
business feasible.
and of course, learners, to give you tips on how to analyze the market need, the following questions should be asked.
Okay, first one
Number
is,
one.
who will get interested in my product?
Yes, that's right. So, kinsa may mga interesado sa akong produkto, maligyaw,
target
ginanggang.
market ani or potential market na
Yes.
kinsa man sila.
Another question, what does the market need or want?
Siguro sa market.
So, unsa kinahanglan, I mean, unsa may kanabang kinahanglan para diya sa usa ka negosyo mo. Yes.
Okay. Then who is buying the product? O kinsa man sila, mga tao, mga
Yes.
professionals baka sila or unsa man
Yes.
unsa mga occupations nila. Okay, so and then
Yes, number 4 is why are they buying those goods and services? And of course, what and how much? Or how, where, and why are they buying these goods or services?
So muna siya yung mga questions nga imo siyang gamiton to analyze a market.
That's
needs.
right, ma'am.
So using these questions will guide you to recognize potential market by analyzing the market needs.
Yes.
In your activities, think and create a business, either product or services that you would like to undertake in your barangay. Diba? And identify your potential market by using the SWOT analysis. And then analyze the market
Yes.
needs.
So, learners, more discussions when we return. This is Astral Academy Cyber School. And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. Yes, okay. Senior High School Constellation of Stars, we hope that you acquire knowledge on the topics being shared to all of you.
That's right. So thank you so much to our viewers today.
Yes.
We hope you gain significant learnings today. And do not forget
Yes.
our senior high school attendance marker for today.
Yes, lantawa sa ibabang bahin sa inyong
screen.
screen.
Okay, so See you next time, everyone. Thank you for watching here. Once again, this is Teacher Genevieve.
And of course, your teacher are from Lorenzo Tan National High School.
Have a
Productive day ahead. Stay safe and God bless everyone. This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tangkop, tangkop time. Tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. Tangkop time.
The Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media and instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na.
The Department of Education, Division of Dangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Dangub, presents Ang Tangkub, transforming advancement in the new normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media, crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies thematically layered in drama plays, which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na.
Grade 7 learners!
Do you know that stories, articles, selections, and the likes are shaped by various influences like environment, culture, social, and economic aspects of the author?
Probably, you may have answered yes or no. For that reason, today, we will explain how a selection may be influenced by culture, history, environment, or other factors.
This lesson will help you explain and realize how the author's experiences in present situations affect and influence their way of writing. For today, we will be dealing with the literary piece of Carlos Sampayan Bulusan, an English language Filipino novelist and poet who immigrated in America on July 1, 1930. He was born in the Philippines in the rural farming village of Mangusmana near the town of Binalonan, Pangasinan Province, Luzon Island. Bulusan and his circle became active first in the labor movement and in the Filipino rights movement. Their attempt to organize the workers brought them into direct conflict with the large agricultural interests. Being a peasant child, he spent his childhood farming in the countryside. He left for America at age 17 in the hope of finding salvation from the economic depression. Denied a means to provide for himself, his later years were of flight, hardship, and malnutrition.
The life story of Carlos Bulusan is manifested in the story that you are going to read entitled Father Goes to Court.
When I was 4, I lived with my mother and brothers and sisters in a small town on the island of Luzon. Father's farm had been destroyed in 1918 by one of our sudden Philippine floods. So far, several years afterward, we all lived in the town, though he preferred living in the country. We had a next door neighbor, a very rich man whose sons and daughters seldom came out of the house. While we and the girls played and sunned in the sun, his children stayed inside and kept the windows closed. His house was so tall that his children could look in the windows of our house and watch us as we played or slept or ate when there was any food in the house to eat. Now, this rich man's servants were always frying and cooking something good, and the aroma of the food was wafted down to us from the windows of the big house. We hung about and took all the wonderful smell of the food into our beings. Sometimes in the morning, our whole family stood outside the windows of the rich man's house and listened to the musical sizzling of thick strips of bacon or ham. I can remember one afternoon when our neighbor servants roasted 3 chickens. The chickens were young and tender, and the fat that dripped into the burning coals gave off an enchanting odor. We watched the servants turn the beautiful birds and inhaled the heavenly spirit that drifted out to us. Some days the rich man appeared at the window and glowered down at us. He looked at us one by one as though he were condemning us. We were all healthy because we went out in the sun every day and bathed in the cool water of the river that flowed from the mountains to the sea. Sometimes we wrestled with one another in the house before we went out to play. We were always in the best of spirits, and our laughter was contagious. Other neighbors who passed by our house often stopped in our yard and joined us in our laughter. As time went on, the rich man's children became thin and anemic, while we grew even more robust and full of fire. Our faces were bright and rosy, but theirs were pale and sad. The rich man started to cough at night, then he coughed day and night. His wife began coughing too. Then the children started to cough one after the other. At night, their coughing sounded like barking of a herd of seals. We hung outside their windows and listened to them. We wondered what had happened to them. We knew that they were not sick from lack of nourishing food because they were still always frying something delicious to eat. One day, the rich man appeared at the window and stood there a long time. He looked at my sisters who had grown fat with laughing, then at my brothers whose arms and legs were like the mulave, which is the sturdiest tree in the Philippines. He banged down the window and ran through the house, shutting all the windows. From that day on, the windows of our neighbor's house were closed. The children did not come outdoors anymore. We could still hear the servants cooking in the kitchen, and no matter how tight the window were shut, the aroma of the food came to us in the wind and drifted gratuitously into the house. One morning, a policeman from the Presidencia came to our house with a sealed paper. The rich man had filed a complaint against us. Father took me with him when he went to the town clerk and asked him what it was all about. He told Father the man claimed that for years we had been stealing the spirit of his wealth and food. When the day came for us to appear in court, we children sat on a long bench by the wall. Father kept jumping up his chair and stomping the air with his arms, as though he were defending himself before an imaginary jury. The rich man arrived. He had grown old and feeble. His face was scarred with deep lines. With him was his young lawyer. Spectators came in and almost filled the chairs. The judge entered the room and sat on a high chair. We stood up in a hurry and sat down again. After the courtroom preliminaries, the judge looked at Father. Do you have a lawyer? He asked. I don't need a lawyer, Judge, he said. Proceed, said the judge. The rich man's lawyer jumped and pointed his finger at Father. Do you or do you not agree that you have been stealing the spirit of the complainant's wealth and food? I do not, Father said. Do you or do you not agree that while the complainant's servants cooked and fried fat legs of lambs and young chicken breasts, you and your family hung outside the windows and inhaled the heavenly spirit of the food? I agree, Father said. How do you account for that? Father got up and paced around, scratching his head thoughtfully. Then he said, I would like to see the children of the complainant, Judge. Bring the children of the complainant. They came shyly. The spectators covered their mouths with their hands. They were so amazed to see the children so thin and pale. The children walked silently to a bench and sat down without looking up. They stared at the floor and moved their hands uneasily. Father could not say anything at first. He just stood by the chair and looked at them. Finally, he said, I should like to cross-examine the complainant. Proceed. Do you claim that we stole the spirit of your wealth and become a laughing family while yours become morose and sad? Father asked. Yes. Then, we are going to pay you right now, Father said. He walked over to where we children were sitting on the bench and took my straw hat off my lap and began filling it with centavo pieces that he took out of his pockets. He went to Mother, who added a fistful of silver coins. My brothers threw in their small change. May I walk to the room across the hall and stay there for a minute, Judge? Father asked. As you wish. Thank you, Father said. He strode into the other room with the hat in his hands. It was almost full of coins. The doors of both rooms were wide open. Are you ready? Father called. Proceed, the judge said. The sweet tinkle of coins carried beautifully into the room. The spectators turned their faces towards the sound with wonder. Father came back and stood before the complainant. Did you hear it? He asked. Hear what? The man asked. The spirit of the money when I shook this hat? He asked. Yes. Then you are paid, Father said. The rich man opened his mouth to speak and fell to the floor without a sound. The lawyer to his aid. The judge pounded his gavel. Case dismissed, he said. Father strutted around the courtroom. The judge even came down to his high chair to shake hands with him. By the way, he whispered, I had an uncle who died laughing. You like to hear my family laugh, Judge? Father asked. Why not? Did you hear that, children? Father said. My sister started it. The rest of us followed. Then and soon the spectators were laughing with us, holding their bellies and bending over the chairs. And the laughter of the judge was the loudest of all.
Did you enjoy the story? Did you notice that the story we have read is reflecting various influences? Identify if these are found in the story. Are you ready? Here we go. Various influences or factors in literary selection. First, cultural influence may be demonstrated through human behavior, vocabulary or language used, human emotions or perspectives, and material items. Number 2, history. Branch of knowledge that records and explains past events connected with studying or representing things from the past. It is about what has happened in the life or development of a people, country, institution, and etc. The third one is environment. the circumstance, object, or condition by which one is surrounded, aggregate of social and cultural conditions that influence the life of an individual or community. The environment can facilitate or discourage interactions among people. It can influence people's behavior, mood, and motivation to act. And the last one is economic, giving good value or return in relation to the money, time, or effort expended. Note the tabular presentations here from the story we have read, Father Goes to Court. In the first column are the influences and factors with examples from the story, Father Goes to Court. The first influence or factor is culture, and culture is depicted from these lines. First, now, these rich man's servants were always frying and cooking something good, and the aroma of the food was wafted down to us from the windows of the big house. And the second line, he looked at my sisters, who had grown fat with laughing, then at my brothers, whose arms and legs were like the malave, which is sturdiest tree in the Philippines. The second influence or factor is economic, and this is shown through these lines. First, then, we are going to pay right now, Father said. He walked over to where we children were sitting on the bench and took my straw hat off my lap and began filling it up with centavo pieces that he took out his pockets. The second line, his house was so tall that his children could look in the windows of our house and watch us as we played or slept or ate when there was any food in the house to eat. The third influence or factor is environment. Let us see how it is shown through these lines. First, we were always in the best of spirit and our laughter was contagious. Other neighbors who passed by our house often stopped in our yard and joined us in our laughter. Second line, bring the children of the complainant. They came shyly. The spectators covered their mouths with their hands. They were so amazed to see the children so thin and pale. The children walked silently to a bench and sat down without looking up. The last one is history. Father's farm had been destroyed in 1918 by one of our sudden Philippine floods. So, for several years afterward, we all lived in the town, though he preferred living in the country.
Most of Carlo Balusan's youth was spent in the countryside as a farmer. It is during his youth that he and his family were economically impoverished by the rich and the political elite, which became one of the main themes in his writing, like the one he manifested in the story, Father Goes to Court.
Moreover, the characters in the story are the poor father, his wife, his children, the rich man's wife and children, the spectators, lawyers, and the judge. After familiarizing the characters in the story, let us see how much you have understood the story that you have read.
Because we are confident that you can now explain how a selection may be influenced by culture, history, environment, and other factors, it is now your turn to get your activity sheet and do the task assigned to you.
Have a great time, learners!
Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been Mama Halia
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teacher, saying continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangku.
Goodbye!
Hello, Grade 7 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Carpentry Exploratory course. For today's lesson, we will discuss the standard procedures in requesting and checking carpentry materials. Requesting and checking the received tools and materials used in carpentry are the basic knowledge that every carpentry student should learn. Safety and quality of work are very necessary when doing your job. Therefore, proper checking must be done to determine the defect of the tools before using and assure that the materials coincide with the description. Knowing how to request and inspect tools and materials will help you understand the concept on how carpenters acquire these tools and materials. This will help you become a skillful carpenter someday. Requisition procedure. The information that follows will teach you how to accomplish the minimum order to acquire materials. Procedures. 1. State the name of the project and date when you requested for materials. 2nd, fill in the classification of the project and its purpose. 3rd, write the number of available materials. 4th, list the unit of materials to be requested. 5th, enumerate the materials with their description. 6th, list the cost per unit and the total cost. 7th, write your name as requisitioner. And lastly, secure the approval of authorities concerned. Requisition form. A requisition form is a list of all things needed in a project together with their descriptions, sizes, and prices. Parts of a requisition form. Quantity tells the number of materials to be purchased. Unit gives the measure of materials to be purchased. Description states the detailed name of materials. Unit cost gives the price of each material. Amount is the cost of all materials. Check materials and tools received. In acquiring materials, it is important that you inspect and check them for defects and damage so that they can be replaced. In addition, you need to handle them carefully and store safely so that they will last. Procedures in checking materials and tools received. First, check if the materials and tools are complete in terms of quantity and specifications, such as the number of pieces, length, width, and etc. Next, check the working condition of each material and tool. Next, check the accessories of each material and tool. See to it that nothing is missing. Next, if any of the materials or tools is found missing or defective, report immediately to the supply officer or your teacher. Next, get a replacement for the materials and tools if found defective. Next, sign the requisition form as you receive materials and tools. Next, store the received materials and tools in a safe area or store to a room nearest to your workplace. And lastly, always handle the materials and tools carefully. There you have it, learners. Those are the things you need to bear in mind when it comes to checking and requesting of carpentry tools and materials. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Carpentry Exploratory Course and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember that according to Saint Francis of Assisi, he who works with his hand is a laborer. He who works with his hands and his head is a craftsman. He who works with his hands and his head and his heart is an artist. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggub Stars.
students, let us learn another lesson still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkup. Please bear with us because you're expected to determine the various social, moral, and economic issues discussed in a text. Listen to.
I have here a quotation, and from it, kindly identify some issues that you can think of. The quotation is, the government has intensified its fight against national problems such as illegal drugs, gender inequality, corruption, and poverty. These are leeches that made the country bleeds.
From the short text or quotation that you have listened to, the issues were illegal drugs, gender inequality, corruption, and poverty. And if we are to classify these issues, illegal drugs and gender inequality fall under social issues, while corruption, a moral issue, and poverty is an example of economic issue.
For you to better understand this lesson, let us define these essential terminologies with specific examples.
Social issues are problems that influence many citizens within a society. It is a common problem in a present-day society and one that many people strive to solve. It is often the consequence of factors extending beyond an individual's control. Social issues are the source of a conflicting opinion on what is perceived as morally correct or incorrect. Personal life or interpersonal social decisions. In other words, social issues are issues affecting the human relationship. Examples of social issues are the different forms of discrimination, broken family, sabotage, bullying, peace and order, and drug abuse.
The second one is moral issues. Moral issues involve the difference of belief and not a matter of preference. The experience of a special kind of feeling, a specific kind of situation where actions affect other people, and actions that have the potential to help or harm others or ourselves. In other words, moral issues are issues relating to principles of right and wrong. Examples of moral issues are gay marriage, stealing, abortion, teenage pregnancy, illicit affairs, gambling, graft and corruption, prostitution, and many others.
Economic issues. The economic issues assert that there is a scarcity or that the finite resources available are insufficient to satisfy all human wants and needs. The problem then becomes how to determine what is to be produced and how the production factors are to be allocated. Economics revolves around methods and possibilities of solving the economic problem. This problem arises mainly due to the fact that human wants are unlimited, means to satisfy human wants are scarce. In other words, economic issues are issues involving the country's economic resources. Examples of economic issues are poverty, inflation, environmental issues, and health issues. Now, it's your turn to listen to two Arabian poems. Please listen very carefully as I read to you the poem, for later on we will be discussing the poem's message. The Song of Maisona by Maisona. The russet suit of camel's hair, with spirits light and eyes serene, is dearer to my bosom form than all the trappings of a queen. The humble tent and murmuring breeze that whistles through its fluttering walls, by an aspiring fancy please better than towers and splendid halls. The attendant colts that bounding fly, and frolic by the litter's side, are dearer in my Sona's eye than gorgeous mules in all their pride. The watchdog's voice that bays whenever a stranger seeks his master's cot sounds sweeter in my Sona's ear than yonder trumpet's long drawn notes. The rustic youth unspoiled by art, son of kindred poor but free, will ever to my Sona's heart be dearer, pampered fool than thee. The second poem, on Fatalism, by Imam Shafi Muhammad bin Idris. Not always wealth nor always force a splendid destiny commands. The lordly vulture gnaws the corpse that rots upon the barren sons. Nor does want or weakness always conspire to bind us to a sordid state. The fly that with a touch expires sips honey from the royal plate.
This time, let us do some poetry analysis, and that is through examining the independent elements of a poem to understand its entirety.
Analyzing poems line by line allows us to break poems down in order to analyze its structure, form, language, metrical pattern, and theme. The purpose of a literary analysis is to interpret the meaning of poems and appreciate it on a deeper level.
The first poem was written by Maisuna herself. Maisuna was a daughter of the tribe Kalab, a tribe, according to Abu Fleda, which is remarkable for both the purity of dialect spoken and for the number of poets it had produced. She was married while still very young to Caliph Muawiyah, but this exalted situation by no means suited the disposition of Maisuna, and amidst all the pomp and splendor of Damascus, she languished for the simple pleasure of her native desert.
These feelings gave birth to the previous simple stanzas which she took the greatest delight in singing, whenever she could find an opportunity to indulge her melancholy in private. She was unfortunately overheard one day by Muawiyah, who was of course not a little offended with such a discovery of his wife's sentiments, and as a punishment of her fault, he ordered her to retire from court. Maisona immediately obeyed, and taking her infant son Yazid with her, returned to Yemen, nor did she revisit Damascus until after the death of Muawiyah, when Yazid ascended the throne.
The Song of Maisuna was all about a queen who wanted to live simply. The queen said that it is better to sit on a camel than on the throne of a king. She would prefer a tent rather than a prestigious palace. She'd rather choose a colt than a mighty steed. A dog's bark is even more comforting to her than the pompous trumpets from a castle. Wealth cannot buy us happiness. Similar to Maisuna, who despite receiving the luxuries of life, still craved the tranquility of an orthodox living. She favored the sheer beauty of the world rather than the shimmering gold. Unlike others, she didn't like being looked up on and praised by masses.
The second poem, entitled On Fatalism, is written by Imam Shafi Muhammad bin Idris. The poem shows morality and being conscious of how we should spend our lives. No matter how high we come, what zeniths we may reach, we will all go down someday. Whether you become the most opulent emperor or a destitute beggar, death will still knock on your door. When the time comes, there is no stopping it. You may be a monarch applauded by all, or an averted mendicant. Some things are unalterable. Having the knowledge that we are all going to die, what we do or how we live does not matter anymore. Even though you spend it with luxury or being contented with what you have now, we cannot escape the coming of death. A man's passing may be compared to an earthquake. You'll never know when it's going to happen. No deterrent will apprise us when we are about to expire. As they say, only God knows when and how we reach our quotas.
We don't even know the aftermath of our death. Unlike games, there is no extension and no pause menu before our final battle. Death is inevitable. Numerous people have tackled the concept of death, steps to prevent it or to have peace with it, but we cannot stop it from coming.
Both texts revealed some traits of the Arab people. They are contented of what they have in their lives. They want a simple life like Maisona. However, there are Arab people who want a wealthy life. Arabians who believe that everything will come to its end. Death does not recognize any high position or richness of any kind. Each of us will die eventually.
Overall, the two selections taught us the difference of a wealthy and simple life and how our choices affect the kind of life we have. Some people seek a wealthy life because they want to make their life easier and better. Sometimes, because of their desire for money, They never notice that it is leading them to do things that can harm or affect other people's lives. But regardless of what life people choose, death is inevitable.
Both poems discusses social, economic, and moral issues, since one's preferences could lead to the quality of one's life. And our belief on death depends on our concept of right and wrong.
Now that you know how to determine various economic, social, and moral issues discussed in the text listened to, please get your activity sheet in English, read the instructions, and do what is expected of you.
Keep on learning, grade 8 learners. Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been Mama Halia
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teacher, saying continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangkub.
Goodbye!
Hello grade 8 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Computer Hardware Servicing Exploratory course. For today's lesson, we will discuss how to maintain hand tools, tools and equipment maintenance. All tools and equipment must be properly maintained so that workers are not endangered. Regulations require inspection of tools, machines, and equipment before use. Preventive maintenance is the systematic care and protection of tools, equipment, and machines in order to keep them in a safe, usable condition, limit downtime, and extend productivity. We must always be aware that maintenance tasks themselves are potentially hazardous and can result in injury. A successful maintenance program is well-organized and scheduled, controls hazards, defines operational procedures, and trains key personnel. General requirements for tools and equipment maintenance include obtaining a copy of the maintenance schedule recommended by the manufacturer, ensuring that maintenance is performed as required, ensuring that the person performing the maintenance are competent, such as a licensed mechanic, retaining records of maintenance or service conducted, specifying who is responsible for overseeing equipment maintenance and where the records are kept, set up a system for removal and tagging of damaged or defective tools and equipment, proper storage of tools, parts, and equipment. Good practices include parts should be properly stored and labeled. Tools should be properly placed on the board and labeled. Consider drawing the shapes of the tools on the board so that they always get put back in the same position. Use bins for storing small parts. Consider making an individual or individuals responsible for the good maintenance of tools and parts. Benefits of proper storage of tools, parts, and equipment. Tools and parts are kept in good condition and are easy to find. Costs are reduced. Productivity is increased because time is not wasted looking for tools, parts, and equipment. Workshop staff develop a sense of responsibility and pride in their work. There you have it, learners. Those are the things you need to bear in mind when it comes to maintaining hand tools. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Computer Hardware Servicing Exploratory course and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember, Never stop learning because life never stops teaching. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tangub Stars.
Hello grade 9 learners, our lesson for today aims to enhance our reviewing and analyzing skills as well as develop our creativity on given tasks.
As we are faced with different crises nowadays, wherein news and social media staffs flood around us, we need to be wise enough on how to manage and deal them, or else they will cause us disappointments and stress. Whatever we view, a video, poster, or pictures, they more likely have different impact on us. That is why we need to be wise in using the information we gathered around us.
In order to realize this objective, we will be viewing various visual materials and determine the relevance or importance and the truthfulness of the ideas they present.
Before discussing the first one, give the meaning of the following words found in the short article we will be discussing later on through using context clues. The words are tangible, reliance, imperial. The first word is tangible. We cannot accept his findings without tangible evidence. So, what's the meaning of the word tangible? Capable of being perceived, especially by the sense of touch.
The second word is reliance. The sentence is, because he didn't have a job, his reliance for money was on his parents. What does the highlighted word reliance mean? Dependence or trust in something or someone.
The third word is imperial. The sentence is, the toxic fumes imperil the lives of the trapped miners, put at risk of being harmed, injured, or destroyed. Now, let us group the following phrases according to the different senses to which they appeal. These are the phrases. Number 1, disorganized apartments. Number 2, loud beats of drum. Third, green field. Fourth, sweet scent of popcorn. Fifth, rough edges of the cabinet. Sixth, noisy participants. Seventh, hot summer sun. And eighth, delicious pastries. Here are the list of the following senses to which they appeal. Visual, or the sense of sight. Auditory, or the sense of hearing. Olfactory, or the sense of smell. Gustatory, or the sense of taste. And tactile, or the sense of touch. For visual, disorganized apartments and green fields. For auditory, these are loud beats of drum and noisy participants. For olfactory, it's sweet scent of popcorn. For gustatory, it's delicious pastries. And for tactile, the rough edges of the cabinet and hot summer sun. Congratulations, learners! For sure, you got all the items perfectly. Your skill in accomplishing the previous task is great. Let's proceed. In our day-to-day life, we often take for granted all the things around us. Take a look around you and notice the environment. How amazing and beautiful is it? But always left unnoticed. This time, kindly list all the things, people, and creations which or who are worthy of your appreciation and attention. Certainly, you have now your list with you, learners. Did you include in your list the trees, the flowers, the animals, your family? For sure you did, and we are certain that there are still more aside from them.
This time, let us read World Failing in Every Environmental Issue. It is intended an op-ed for the Earth's Day. There is no question that Earth has been a giving planet, Everything humans have needed to survive and thrive was provided by the natural world around us: food, water, medicine, materials for shelter, and even natural cycles such as climate and nutrients. Scientists have come to term such gifts as ecosystem services. However, the recognition of such services goes back thousands of years and perhaps even farther if one accepts the cave paintings at Lascaux as evidence. Yet, we have so disconnected ourselves from the natural world that it is easy and often convenient to forget that the nature remains as giving as ever, even as it vanishes bit by bit. The rise of technology and industry may have distanced us superficially from nature, but it has not changed our reliance on the natural world. Most of what we use and consume on a daily basis remains the product of multitudes of interactions within nature, and many of those interactions are imperiled. Beyond such physical goods, the natural world provides less tangible but just as important gifts in terms of beauty, art, and spirituality. Now let us write one sentence that appeal to both of these senses. We have the visual and olfactory. The sentence that might appeal to your sense of sight, this could be the sentences that would appeal to your sense of sight and also smelling. The first sentence is, the garbage clattered around the coastline. The second sentence is, the stinky and foul garbage within the coastline makes me want to vomit. Now that you have learned how to analyze the information contained in the material viewed, please get your activity sheet and be ready to answer. Good luck, learners! Activity number 1, directions. Analyze each picture below and give the message that it tries to convey to the viewers through completing the phrases in the table. The picture is about, the problem in the picture is, the problem will be solved through, and the silent message of the picture is. Activity number 2, for real or not. Directions, read the statements below and write yes if the statement is true and no if it's not.
This lesson dealt with analyzing the information contained in the material viewed. We all have to enhance our way of seeing things, what we have heard or viewed, and be critical and responsive on it. What we see around us may not be positive or acceptable, but we can always do something in order to make things better. This lesson teaches us that somehow, in our own little way, we can do something, and that something is what our environment needs to have for a change.
Happy learning and exploring. Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of changing the world. This has been your English teachers, Mama Halia
And Ma'am Pinky,
still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangkup!
Goodbye!
Hello, grade 9 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkup TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Bread and Pastry Production 9. For today's lesson, we will discuss the importance of baking temperature. Your oven is one of the most important variables in determining the outcome of your baked products. Setting the right temperature of your oven is important not only for determining baking times, but it will also affect the quality of your baked goods. Importance of preheating. It is important to preheat your oven before baking. Baked items depend on the correct oven temperature to help them rise properly. All baked recipes are tested in a preheated oven. Generally speaking, higher temperatures will give your baked products more golden, crisper crust to the sponge or pastry, and a low temperature will result into a fluffier, less golden sponge. With some cakes, you want a golden crust, and with other cakes, you want them to be gently cooked and fluffy. To preheat the oven, place the oven racks to the proper levels first, and then set the temperature as stated in the recipe. You will know if the temperature is good to go by using the thermometer. Most ovens now have built-in thermometer for convenient baking. Baking temperature and time. First column is for the cake type. Second column is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. Third column is for the temperature in degrees Celsius. And the fourth column is for the number of minutes in baking time. For cupcakes, baking temperature is 350 to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 to 190 degrees Celsius, and baking time is 15 to 25 minutes. For layer cake, baking temperature is 350 to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 to 190 degrees Celsius, and the baking time is 20 to 35 minutes. For loaf cake, baking temperature is 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius, and the baking time is 45 to 60 minutes. For angel food and sponge cake, baking temperature is 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. Baking time, 50 to 60 minutes. There you have it, learners. Those are the things you need to bear in mind when it comes to baking temperature. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Bread and Pastry Production 9 and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember that according to the famous author of Harry Potter book series, J.K. Rowling, anything is possible if you've got nerve. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggap Stars.
What's up, grade 10 learners? Welcome to another episode of Ang Tangkub, where you learn new things the fun and easy way possible.
Please listen very carefully because at the end of our discussion, you are actually expected to compose an independent critique of a selection.
Before we get going, do you have any idea what a critique is? What is a critique? A critique is a paper that gives a critical assessment of a book or article. It is also a systematic analysis of a piece of literature that discusses its validity and evaluates its worth. Its main purpose is not informational but analytic and persuasive. In analyzing the content and contexts within which the book or article was written, the writer of a critique argues whether it is worth reading or not.
Just like any other essay, a critique has a basic part of any other composition, which are the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. To help you with your task later on, let this critical analysis template help you. Critical analysis template. For introduction, state the title of the work, the author's name, and the date of publication. Outline main ideas of the book and identify the author's thesis. Third, state your own thesis statement and your main idea about the work. Examples: the novella The Metamorphosis by Frank Kafka is an excellent story because the author. The article Narratives of Intercultural Transformation by Ingrid Adams is informative and insightful because the author. The second part is body. In the body, Briefly outline the main ideas of the book, article, or film. It should involve who, what, where, when, why, and how. You may also choose to discuss the structure, style, or point of view. Example: the book is about, the author argues that, the setting is, the research was, the main character, the main points are, the theme is, and the authors conclude. For the analysis, critically state what you like and do not like about the book, article, or film. Explain your ideas with specific examples from the book, article, or film. Assess whether the author has achieved their intended goal. And the analysis may look at whether the work is, first, focused, understandable, persuasive, clear, or informative, or original, exciting, interesting, and well written. Third, directed at the appropriate audience, meeting, and purpose. And the last one, well researched with appropriate conclusions and more. The analysis is made up of several different paragraphs. And the last one is conclusion, where you restate your thesis in new words. You summarize your main ideas, if possible, with new and stronger words. You include a call to action for your reader. Example: you must read this book because, or this article is not useful because.
Now, for you to visualize how a critique is done, may this example help you. You may read the critique along with me as it is flashed on your screen. Book review: The Little Prince. Today's book review will be on The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Growing up as a child, this was one of my favorite books with a very important life lesson to learn. The Little Prince tells the story of a pilot stranded in the desert fixing his aeroplane, until one day he meets a little boy, the Little Prince. The Little Prince tells the pilot many stories of his magical journey from his little planet and of his encounters with different grown-ups. The story focuses on how grown-ups are only interested in figures or matters of very little importance in life, in which the Little Prince cannot understand. The story highlights how most grown-ups miss out on simple things in life such as friendship, love, and the beauty of the world because they are too much occupied with gaining wealth and power. They are tricked into believing that figures or having money is important, but their life has no meaning. What I like most about The Little Prince is the key message. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. It teaches the reader that it is important to look beneath the surface, to truly understand something which most people fail to do, as they are only interested in the face value of something as demonstrated by the very beginning of the story. This is a very important message for any child or grown-up to understand, in which the book demonstrates very beautifully. The story writing itself is kept very simple with no rhythm or rhyme, but the imagination and maturity of the story keeps the reader interested, along with the use of drawings by the author to help the reader visualize some things which may be unfamiliar. Not everyone knows what baobabs are. Overall, I would recommend The Little Prince to all children over the age of 8, as younger readers may fail to understand certain words or the key message being portrayed. They may also find the book too serious, lacking of fun or humor, while older readers will definitely appreciate the beautiful message in this old tale. As you would later on write your own critique, it is essential that you consider brainstorming on the key critical questions for your assessment, analysis, and evaluation later on. First question: who is the creator? Is the work presented objectively or subjectively? Number 2, what are the aims of the work? Were the aims achieved? Third, what techniques, styles, media were used in the work? Are they effective in portraying the purpose? Fourth, what assumptions underlie the work? Do they affect its validity? Fifth, what types of evidence or persuasion are used? Has evidence been interpreted fairly? Sixth, How is the work structured? Does it favor a particular interpretation or point of view? Is it effective? And lastly, does the work enhance understanding of key ideas or theories? Does the work engage or fail to engage with key concepts or other works in the discipline?
Furthermore, these are checklists for a critic that you must consider. Have I, first, mentioned the name of the work, the date of its creation, and the name of the creator? Second, accurately summarized the work being critiqued? Third, mainly focused on the critical evaluation of the work? Fourth, systematically outlined an evaluation of each element of the work to achieve the overall purpose? Fifth, used evidence from the work itself as well as other sources to back and illustrate my assessment of elements of the work? Sixth, formed an overall evaluation of the work based on critical reading? Seventh, used a well-structured introduction, body, and conclusion? And the last one, have I used correct grammar, spelling and punctuation, clear presentation, and appropriate referencing style?
We hope that you are now ready to venture in composing an independent critique of a selection.
This time, please get your activity sheet in English, read the directions, and do what is expected of you. You can do it, dear learners! Your journey and task may appear difficult, but with your sheer determination and diligence, you are on your way to become the best communicator you can be.
Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been Ma'am Mahalia
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teacher, saying continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangkub!
Goodbye!
Hello, grade 10 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Housekeeping 10. For today's lesson, we will discuss the different cleaning equipment used in hotels. Cleaning equipment: floor scrubber or polisher. This is used in scrubbing and polishing hard floor surfaces such as vinyl, wood parquet, and etc. Use the appropriate pad for scrubbing, stripping, and polishing. Give the wax on the floor enough time to dry before polishing. Upholstery steam cleaner, an equipment used to clean carpet and upholstery. It has been fitted with an upholstery wand for maximum reach when dealing with tight, hard-to-reach crevices of upholstery. High-pressure washer. This equipment is designed to remove soil from the surface with the help of water and steam subjected to high pressure. Water under pressure dislodges the dirt from the surface. Carpet shampoo machine. This equipment is used for deep cleaning and stain removal. The cleaning agents are simply mixed with hot water and detergents. The detergent is injected on the carpet piles and extracted back by a wet vacuum built into the same machine. Vacuum cleaner. This is used in removing dust and small pieces of debris from the floors, upholstery, furnishings, walls, and ceilings. It comes with different flexible attachments such as crevice nozzle, upholstery cleaning brush, floor cleaning brush, and etc. There you have it, learners. Those are the different cleaning equipment used in hotels. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Housekeeping 10 and answer the given questions. Before we end, Always remember to believe in yourself and you will be unstoppable. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggub Star.
We hope that you have learned the most essential lessons you need to master. See you on our next episodes. This has been Ang Tangkub.
It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na.
The Department of Education, Division of Tanggub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tanggub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media at instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo lang. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na.
Good afternoon and welcome to Astral Academy Cyber School. I am Mama Halia from Santa Maria National High School.
Hello, hello learners. This is still your Ma'am Pinky Del Castillo of Sumirap National High School.
And I am teacher James Murphy Saporno, still from Sumirap National High School. And we are
Your teacher facilitators today. Today, learners, is February 24, 2022, Thursday. And since it's Thursday, they will be learning English and TLE sub.
lessons.
Yes.
That's right. That will happen right after this short break. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Hello, hello to our grade 7 junior high school learners, Mama Halia and Sir James, because the first lesson that we will be discussing this afternoon is
English 7.
English 7 particularly. And for our competency for this afternoon is to explain how a selection may be influenced by culture, history, environment, or other factors. So,
That's right, Ma'am Pinky. So we all know that stories, article selections, and the likes are shaped by various influences like environment, culture, social, economic aspects of the author. So this lesson will help you explain and realize how the author's experiences and of course the present situations affect and influence their ways of writing.
exactly. And when we say various influences which affect the mood or the attitude of the author in writing, there are four. What are those, Sir James?
Right, we have first cultural influence. This refers or this may be demonstrated through human behavior, vocabulary or language used, human emotions or perspectives, and material items.
Yeah,
That
so
is correct.
the culture of a particular
Yes.
place or time is very important in influencing
Yes, this must,
the author in writing.
This could have something to do with some artifacts or objects,
Yes.
maybe people, or of course certain events in history.
That's right.
All right, so that will lead us to another point.
The second
or,
one,
that
the
is
number
history.
2.
History has something to do with.
From our, we can see that in our previous
It's
slide.
a past record of what happened in the life and the development of the people, the country, and the institution.
Institution.
So these are events that took place
Yes.
years ago, but are still significant
That's
in the present time.
And we are still recalling it, and we are
Yes.
valuing the history happened in the past. And our third influence is the environment where we lived in. This circumstance, the object or condition by which one is surrounded, the place where we lived in, where we were born and we were raised, our author maybe. And the last one, Sir James.
And the last one is, of course, economic, giving good value or return in relation to the money, time, or effort expended.
That's right. Okay, so those are the 4 influences which affect the author in writing, in her or his
Yes,
writing.
exactly.
So we have here an example. This is not found in our SLM learners, our grade 7 learners, so listen carefully. This is the story written by, the summary of the story entitled Man in the Pitan, written by Loreto Paras Sulit. This is now the summary. So Sir James, can you read this for us?
All right, Man in the Pitan. There were 3 boys named Lupe, Hugo, and Felix who were arguing about an answer to a question about catechism. They were about to have a fist fight when suddenly a man interrupted and told them that a fist fight may prove who is the strongest among them, but not who is right. The man told the boys that if they really want to find out who is right, then they should open their books and read the answer very well. The boys obeyed the man's words and realized that he is the new guy who just arrived in their small town, Dapitan. They all became acquainted with each other until one day, the man asked the boy if they want to learn a new language. The boys agreed and studied English. As they were studying, the man noticed Lope thinking very deeply and found out that his mother has an eye condition and is almost blind. The man offered help to Lope and said that he would pay a visit and check his mother's eyes. The man eventually performed an operation to Lope's mother's eyes, and it was successful. Before leaving, Lope's father asked for the name of the man, and the man answered that he is Jose Rizal.
Okay, thank you, Sir James. So, Mama Halia, we're talking about the place Dapitan.
Yes, exactly.
Have you gone to Dapitan?
Yes,
Yes,
many
of
times.
course.
All right.
So, this is the story of a man in Dapitan. So, this time, learners will be going to identify the influences. How come that the author Loreto Parasulit had written this one? What are the influences that may influence her because she is a girl. Loreto
Oh my
is
God,
a
Loreto
girl.
is a
Yeah,
girl?
it's a woman.
All right.
Okay,
Very
so-
unique name indeed.
Yeah, so these are the possible influences. First is the cultural influence. It could be in the passage we can see, or in the summary, we can see the spirit or culture of bayanihan or helping one another, right? When the man, the stranger in that place who is pertaining to Jose Rizal himself, helped his kababayan in the Pitan without asking something in return. So, and of course, this the culture of close family ties, which is common to us, very Filipino.
Yes,
It's a very
exactly.
Filipino thing.
We love our
And-
mother so much, not just our
Yes.
mother, but we also pay homage and deep respect or reverence to our father.
That's right.
Yes.
Our
And-
parents, their voices are very much important
Yes.
as we actually make decisions. So it has been shown also by the love of what's the name of
The
that
son,
kid? Lope.
Lope.
Yes.
Okay.
And we also have the next one is history, the contribution of our national hero and physician Jose Rizal in the history of our country. That's right. So because he is great many things.
That's
Rizal
right.
is not just our national hero. He is also
Right.
well equipped, a writer.
writer,
Yeah, his
poet.
Doctor.
ophthalmologists and everything. And he also learned more than 100 languages.
That's
so
right.
imagine being a polyglot all at once.
That's right. That's why in the story we can see there, we had read that he want to teach the kids on different
Another
language.
language,
Yes.
if they're willing.
And the third one is environment. It is common to hear, right, learners, some healthy arguments in our community, but we are not fighting if we're going to hear that maybe Filipinos, as we are known of having maybe a high-pitched voice, sometimes we are
Yes,
we
these are how colorful our
Yes.
language is. We add color by maybe using some terms which are not actually out of our vent out emotions,
That's
but
right.
just to express who we really are and what's our
Yes.
stand on certain issues.
Yes, and maybe foreigners would mistakenly say that we are arguing, but that
Just
is
because
normal
of
to
our
us.
The tone of
The
voice.
tone of
Yes.
our voice, that is normal to us because that is what we can observe in our surroundings and environment. Okay, so in our next slide, we have there the activity.
So their task is actually to match the life situation influencing the author's writings in column A with specific excerpt from the story in column B by writing the letter of the correct answer. So, okay, they already have the choices. All they need to do is to match A to B. So
Yes.
just be mindful, dear learners, to analyze the text. And if they are really connected, if you can see that there's a close relationship between these items, then that means these are the answers.
That's right. Okay, and for our next activity, from your answer in activity 1, learners classify the kind of influence, the one we mentioned a while ago, affecting a selection. Choose your answer from the word pool. Very easy, Mamahali and Sir
Okay,
James.
I think they can do it. Our grade 7 learners
Yes,
can do it.
good luck.
So let us proceed to our grade 8 learners. Hello there to
Hello,
our grade
hello.
8 learners. Their competency is actually, Sir James,
to determine various social, moral, and economic issues discussed in the text listened to.
Okay, that's right. So we have actually different reasons why we need to determine or examine the various social, moral, and economic issues discussed in the text or the text being listened to. And one of that is that it is actually the first step in solving problems or negotiating them is to be aware that they occur or they take place. Because
Yes.
if we are not aware of these issues, how could we solve these issues? So
Yes.
that's one good thing. That's the importance of our lesson right now, to be able to know or to determine the various social, moral, and economic issues in the text being listened.
Okay, this is one way also of understanding others.
Yes,
if you
that's
know.
right. So we have
the
the first
issues.
one, the social issues. What is this?
Okay, so social issues, these are problems that influence many citizens within a society. It is common problem in present day society, present day society, and one that many people strive to solve. It is often the consequence of factors extending beyond an individual's control. Social issues are the source of a conflicting opinion on what is perceived as a morally correct or incorrect personal life or interpersonal social life decisions. In other words, learners, social issues are issues affecting the human relationships. Example, Annie, Mamahali and Sir James, and our learners, this is what we call discrimination, very rampant nowadays.
Sure.
Broken family, the issue in broken family, the sabotage, bullying. Are you a victim of this? We hope you are not. Peace and order, and this is the drug abuse, which is very hard to solve.
Yes, we also have what we call moral issues. So moral issues involve the difference of belief and not a matter of preference. So the experience of a special kind of feeling, a specific kind of situation where actions affect other people and actions that have the potential to help or harm others or ourselves. In other words, moral issues are issues relating to principles of right and wrong. So examples here, very common, same-sex marriage, stealing, abortion, teenage pregnancy, illicit affairs, gambling, graft and corruption, prostitution, and etc.
Yes.
So these are some of the moral issues we are faced these days. We are facing these days. And next is the economic issues, Sir James.
Yes, we also have the economic issues, which assert that there is a scarcity, or that the finite resources available are insufficient to satisfy all human wants and needs. The problem then becomes how to determine what is to be produced and how the production factors are to be allocated. Economics revolves around methods and possibilities of solving the economic problem. This problem arises mainly due to the fact that human wants are unlimited, means to satisfy human wants are scarce. In other words, economic issues are issues involving the country's economic resources. Examples of this is, of course, we have poverty, inflation of the prices, environmental issues, and health issues.
That's correct. I think inflation is one thing that we are facing right now
Yes.
because of the pandemic. The
prices
the
of the
fluctuating
My
movement
God.
in the stock market, for example.
The gasoline price is very
You can relate to this, Sir James.
shocking.
Yeah, that's right,
Yes.
because of inflation. So inflation actually refers to if ever the value of our money is diminished in time. So that's why the buying power of our money has diminished in this time of the pandemic. So I think
Yes.
it's really a big issue. So for your activity, dear learners, your activity number 1 is actually to know exactly what is or what are the possible. We have Africa's Plea actually. So read the poem. We need to read the poem Africa's Plea, and then after that we need to answer the questions. Although they have choices. So this one that we'll be giving them is actually an example question, but this is not found on their SLM. This will just be your guide on how to answer it. So, for example, the sample question would be: racial discrimination is one of the prevailing themes of the poem Africa's Plea. This issue goes beyond being discriminated based on skin color. What type of issue is this problem?
Yes.
So whether it is social, economic,
or
or moral.
moral.
So what's the answer, dear learners?
Yes.
It's actually
Very obvious.
It is?
It's your duty to answer that, learners.
It's a social issue. It is a social issue.
Mamahalia helped you in answering. Thank you,
Alright,
Mamahalia.
so let's move on to activity number 2. Their task, Ma'am Pink, is
Yes, is to read the following situations carefully and then identify what issue they are suggesting, whether it is social, moral, or economic, and give your possible solutions to these problems. Write your answer on a separate sheet of paper.
we actually give them an example. So this is actually the problem is not found on their SLM, but this is how you should be guided, of course, in identifying the issue. So for example, you have Pedro, who is an unemployed man, and he didn't finish his degree due to poverty. So what kind of issue is this? Basically, Sir James?
Of course,
It's
it
very
refers
obvious.
to economic
Economic
issues.
issues.
That's right. And the possible solution, this is just one made by us, but of course you can actually make your own answer to this.
can have better solutions.
Yes, Pedro should learn some life skills in order to get a job which will sustain, of course, his
needs. Okay.
Alright, so stay tuned because we will be right back after this short break. This is
Astral Academy Cyber
School. And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Okay, hello, our grade 9 learners. Are you ready for our lesson this afternoon?
Yes, with our competency to analyze information contained in a material view.
Okay, the skill to develop learners, remember, is to analyze.
Okay, that's right. So, what do we analyze? We need to analyze
the visual image.
So, what is a visual image?
Okay, so these
And some
are
examples.
cartoons, book covers, charts, graphs, photographs, business logos are not just pretty to look at, Sir James and Mamahalia.
Yes.
They also communicate just as words do.
Yes, exactly. As what they say, it's very common. A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
whenever we are presented with a picture, it's as if that we are also getting into the gist of everything already. It's already said. In the pictures.
So there are some elements we might consider in our analysis, learners. So the first one, Sir James, is
The first one is organization, how the image is composed and placement. It relates also to other elements.
okay. So as
Correct.
example, Mamahala, in a photograph.
Yes.
So how the image is composed, there are elements in a photograph
Yes.
which are related to one another.
You're
and-
talking about here the composition.
Yes.
Okay. We cannot just make the foreground. It must have a connection with our
Yes.
background, and of course the contrast of colors as well. If it's pale, if the foreground is pale, of course we should not have a background that is also pale. Right?
It should
Yeah, this is part of
contrast.
organization. And you also have the next one is style. So from the perspective of either the viewer or creator, it could either be humorous, ironic, it could be sarcastic or serious, and it has also something to do with color and of course typography.
Okay, we also have the content of the visual image. What the message does it convey? This is very important. So the message that image convey depends on the one that is
Yes.
analyzing it. And the last, Sir James?
And the last one, we have the source, where it was produced, biased or neutral, scholarly or promotional.
All right, that's it. So as we look at each element, judge it in light of rhetorical questions. So the first one is, what do you think the image creator was trying to accomplish?
Yes.
So, like for example, putting our place on the shoe of the one who took the photograph. Okay.
Okay, the second one is there a central message, or it is related to our previous question? What is the message conveyed in the image? So it has something to do with this. What is the central message? What message that the picture or image wants to convey?
Yes, exactly.
The last one?
And the last one, does the image support a thesis developed in any accompanying text?
Okay, because there are texts, Mamahali and Sir James, that
Yes.
has or have corresponding photograph that describes what is the text, all about.
Yes, most likely if we see pictures, there are also captions
Yes.
in them. We have catchphrase and also captions. So of course, in analyzing what we view, we need to use our sensory images, and
Yes.
our sensory images, these are the 5 basic, but I've learned that there are actually 7 types of imagery. But for of course, we only have 5 senses, so let's focus on them. So the first one is visual. So the sense of sight. So disorganized apartments, green field, these are examples that would appeal, that we can see to our senses. Like for example, we can see verdant green.
Yes.
Okay, you can see tiny pink, exquisite flowers. These are visual.
I heard, Mamahala,
images.
that if your eyes are tired, you just look at green, the
Yes.
greenery.
Yes, greenery is very helpful
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
when you are stressed.
That's why it's good to have, example, if it's indoors, it's good to have just one, even just one.
Potted plant.
Yes,
Yeah.
potted plant, exactly.
Okay, the second one is auditory. This is our sense of hearing, something that we hear, or some noise or sound. Example, the loud beats of drum or the noisy participants. Okay, so the third one, Sir James, is?
And the third one is olfactory, which refers to the sense of smell. So example, of course, is the sweet scent of popcorn or even fragrances.
Yes, that's correct. Or
That
the
we
aroma
wear.
of coffee and
Yeah.
bread, for example, in
Yes.
the morning. And we also have gustatory, the sense of taste. Delicious pastries, for example, sweet Mariana sauce, things like
Yes.
that.
And-
Savory sisig.
Okay, the
Yes.
tactile or the sense of touch. the rough edges of the cabinet, the hot summer sun. These are, as you can observe, learners, this is pertaining only to a visual image that we can see. But as you notice, we can apply those sensory
photographs
images.
or in visual
in
images.
visual images.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and let's proceed now with your activity, our grade 9 learners.
Your directions is that to analyze each picture, your given picture on your SLM, and to give the message that it tries to convey to the viewers through completing the phrases in the table. So they actually have some prompts already.
Yes, of
so
course.
you are guided as to what to write.
And the picture given here is not the same with what is there on their SLM.
okay, exactly.
So let's have this example, Ma'am Halia. So the picture, you can see there are two hands.
Yes, and it
From
looks
the-
like the man is planting.
Yeah, with the
something.
child, with the hands of a child.
Yes.
Okay, so for example, the picture is about, example, tree planting. It could
Yes.
be, or the love of nature, or teaching a
Yes.
child
Yes.
to
love planting.
Yes.
All right. And the problem in the picture is that maybe
it's deforestation.
yes, exactly, and
illegal
helping
logging.
save the environment.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, we have been constantly battling with climate change.
That's right.
Yes.
And the problem will be solved through, of course, tree planting, teaching children, because our children are our future. So we should teach them to love.
Yes, when
how
you
to love
say
planting.
the last one here is that the silent message of the picture is this has something to do with the implied message. Not that clear, but it is still one of the messages in the given selection.
Yes.
Maybe one of the messages is cooperation, that the young and the old generation should help one another in solving or mitigating
That's right.
this problem.
Very well said, Ma'am Mahalia. And we also have another activity. The activity 2, you have to read the statements below and write yes if the statement is true and no if it is not. Example, analyzing the material you viewed. Analyzing the material you viewed requires comprehension and emotion. What do you think is the answer?
Yes, it is
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
It's the yes.
And that's it.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
and this time?
We are to proceed with our grade 10
Hello.
learners. Hello there. Our learning competency, Sir James, is?
Compose an independent critic of a selection.
That is correct. So why is it important to have or to be able to learn how to compose an independent critic of a selection? It is because with the ongoing influx of multifarious information from different sources, the skill to distinguish significant information which is factual remains to be our edge as critical readers who will never fall victims of misinformation.
That's right.
So what is a critic?
Nobody wants to become a
Yes,
victim,
a victim
of that.
of a false information.
Yes.
And the worst thing is you're already the victim and you've been spreading it. Okay.
Because you want to
Yeah, to convince
victimize
others too.
Oh
That's
my
so sad.
God.
It's a sad tale.
Okay, so a critic is a paper that gives a critical assessment of a book or article.
Okay. So
Another?
James?
It is also a systematic analysis of a piece of literature that discusses its validity and evaluates its worth.
Okay, and the main purpose, it is not informational but analytic and of course persuasive. Why? Because we wanted, if we have a positive review on a movie or a book, we wanted others to also watch it.
Yes, to convince others.
Yes.
And in analyzing the content and context within which the book or article was written, the writer of a critic argues whether it is worth reading or not.
Okay, that's correct. So this is a critical analysis template. So we have given them the guide as to how to write. In your introduction, you need to state the title of the work, of course, the author's name. It's very important.
Yes.
For example, if you're reviewing The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, something like that. So you also need to write the date of publication, when was it written, outline the main ideas of the book, and identify the author's thesis, the belief of the author, the central idea with which the work revolves. State, of course, your own thesis statement of your main idea and about the work. So, for example, the novella The Metamorphosis by Frank Kafka is an excellent story because the author, of course, you need to
Blah, blah,
provide
blah.
evidences.
Yes.
Or you could say the article Narratives of Intercultural Transformation by Ingrid Adams is informative and insightful because the author presents something continue. So that's how you make an introduction. How about in the body, Sir James?
In the body, it should briefly outline the main ideas of the book, article, or film. It should also involve who, what, where, when, why, and how. And you may also choose to discuss the structure, style, or point of view. Examples: this book is about, and then the author argues that the setting is, the research was, the main character, the main points are, the theme is, and the authors conclude.
Okay, they are guided.
Yes, and of course, we'll proceed, Ma'am Pink, with
With the analysis, since your skill is to critique, in the analysis, you have to critically state what you like and do not like about the book, article, or film, because you are subject of your own criticism. So you have to state there what are the things you like and what are the things that you do not like. And with that, explain your ideas with specific examples from the book, article, or film. If you do not like this, you support your idea. If you like that, you also support your idea. Assess whether the author has achieved their intended goal. And in the analysis may look at whether the work is focused, understandable, persuasive, clear, informative, original, exciting, interesting, or well-written. The analysis also, it is directed at the appropriate audience, meaning and purpose. It is well-researched with appropriate conclusions and more. The analysis is made up of several different paragraphs. I think this is the longest part.
Yes, the longest
of
part
the
consists of, I think, around 3 or 2 to 3 paragraphs.
Yes.
And of course, conclusion, 1 paragraph only, which should restate your thesis in new words, summarize your main idea if possible with new and stronger words, and of course, to include a call to action for the reader, a call of action. For example, you must read this book because, or this article is not useful because.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Just like you are making a review in Shopee.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so let's make it. Let's have the activity. Your activity is writing fix. The directions is to considering the intellectual and emotional appeal. Write a critique of the selection, the training of a night attached on the other page of your activity sheet. And also use the guide, of course. You're given the guide. Write your critique on this separate sheet of paper, and of course to see the rubric for better scores.
Yes.
Okay, that's
And
it. I think they can do it. Oh, so
And we
they
have an
should be
example.
guided. Yeah, they should be guided with this one. So the first
okay.
one is the context, no? So what is the selection's genre? Is it adventure? Is it science
Fiction.
fiction, fantasy, literary? For example, okay, this is their task and we are giving them a sample answer.
Yes.
So you can just copy this one, screenshot. Okay. So for example, you have there, the training of a knight is a literary tale and which can be classified as myth or legend. It is quite based from the legend of the 12 Knights of the Round Table during the age of chivalry.
Okay.
And they also have number 2 question, Sir James, is the author's
The author's
intention.
intention. What is the author trying to accomplish with the story? If the story is meant to be funny, or is it meant to be morality tale but doesn't quite pull it off, then it has failed in at least one respect. So the author's intention is to inform that the process of becoming a knight is quite long and arduous.
There's still a lot of questions, but of course, we will now leave it
Yeah,
to them.
because we
Okay.
believe it, you can do that. You can
yes,
do that
they
activity,
can do them.
learners.
All right. So
Okay.
their reactions, yes, it's very specific. Whatever that is, you just need to write it
yes.
in organized manner, and of course, that is good to go.
And our learners are good in giving reactions. I
Yes.
know you are good in criticism.
Not just
right.
facial reactions, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening to English
Yes,
lessons.
English lessons.
Alright, so
And stay
tuned.
tuned.
We will be right back after a short break for TLE lessons.
That's right.
This is still
Astral
Astral Academy Cyber School.
sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Okay, our junior high school learners, please take note of your second attendance marker flashed on your screen.
All right, now we will move to our next subject to tackle this afternoon, which is all about TLE, and we will start with TLE Carpentry Exploratory
Hello
Course.
again, our grade 7 learners.
Yes, and our learning competency for today is
To request appropriate materials, tools, receiving, and inspecting materials in carpentry.
all right. So requesting and checking the received tools and materials used in carpentry are the basic knowledge that every carpentry student like you should learn. Safety and quality of work are very necessary when doing your job. Therefore, proper checking must be done to determine the defect of the tools before using and assure that the materials coincide with the description, of course. So knowing how to request and inspect tools and materials will help you understand the concept on how carpenters acquire these tools and materials. This will also help you to become a skillful carpenter someday. And of course, because of that, we will be talking about the requisition procedure of carpentry tools and materials.
All right. So the information that we are to discuss will teach us how to accomplish the minimum order to acquire materials. Oh, I didn't know that there is really a minimum order for certain carpentry tools.
Okay. It will also depend on the project that you will be making.
Yes.
Gusto pong magbuhat kag usa ka lamisa, then imong kahoy kay 100 ka buo.
Yes,
Okay.
Of
So if you are
course.
going to apply this in real life situations, or
Yes.
this, mo nitong murag 1/4, 1/2 may sulat sa mga panday.
Yes.
Nata
correct.
Kung makabantay ka before ta magpa buhat sa atong project, mangutana kita sa atong panday pila man ka ingon ani nga kahoy ang gamiton nung before ta mo palit kay para at the same time sakto ra pud atong mapalit kay kaysa naman sobra.
Okay.
Then mas kuan pod nga dili pod siya makulang.
That's right. Okay,
Alright.
so the first one is procedure.
Okay, so state the name of the project and the date when you requested for materials. So fill in the classification of the project and its purpose, write the number of available materials, list the unit of the materials to be requested, enumerate the materials with their description, of course, and list the cost per unit, and of course the total cost. Write your name as the
Requisitioner. It's
How
a
do you
tongue
say
twister.
that?
Requisitioner.
It's a tongue twister.
And secure the approval of authorities concerned.
All right, so that will lead us to now what we call the requisition form. So when we say a requisition form, it is a list of all things needed in the project together with their description, sizes, and the prices.
Okay,
So, sulod sa requisition, makita sa inyong SLM ang quantity, ang unit, the description, the unit cost, and of course, the total amount
Oh,
kay
I see.
para sa pag-budget.
Sometimes if it's in the school, we need to have canvas. Was that?
Yeah.
Is
the canvas.
So that is all
Prices.
about requisition.
And,
And now we will move to the checking of materials and tools. Now, in acquiring materials, it is important that you inspect and check them for defects. Mo gid na siya kasagaran na to.
Yes, that's correct. If they're
Defects or damage
damages.
so that they can be replaced. And in addition, you need to handle them carefully and store safely so that they will also last. So, ang pamaagi sa pag-check o sa pag-check sa mga materials and tools can be read in their SLM. Now we will move to their activity.
So it's very simple. It's just a multiple choice item. You just need to choose the letter that correspond, of course, to the best or the appropriate answer.
All right, good luck to
based on
that,
the
learners.
question.
I know
How
for
many
sure
items are
there are only 10.
There are only 10. Okay, so they can do it.
can do it,
Let's
learners.
proceed to our grade 8 TLE, and that is computer hardware and servicing 8. So our learning competency is to maintain hand tools.
Maintain
Yes.
is the competency or the skill that we
To
are to
develop.
develop. So tool and equipment maintenance, we will be talking about maintenance. So all tools and equipment must be properly maintained so that workers are not endangered. Regulations require inspections of tools, machines, and equipment before use. So there are also we also have the term called preventive maintenance, which is the systematic care and protection of tools, equipment, and machines in order to keep them in a safe, usable condition, and of course, to limit the downtime and extend its productivity. So when we say maintenance, of course, kung sa ato lang na binisaya nga pagka-istorya mo, ni siya ang atong mga kinahanglang buhaton aron magdugay sa ato ang mga gamit.
that's right.
Diba? Class,
Proper
if
care.
nakabantay mo, maski sa inyong personal things such as your cellphone, if wala mo'y proper maintenance,
That's right.
maguba gina siya
Yes,
dali.
and it is not about the brand or the price.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
It is on how you take good care of your property or belongings.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. So general requirements for tools and equipment maintenance would include obtaining a copy of the maintenance schedule, and of course you also need to set up a system for removal and tagging of damaged or defective tools and equipment.
And many more, which can be read in your SLM. Now we will move to the good practices in proper storage of tools, parts, and equipment. First, we
Okay.
have
Parts should be properly stored and labeled.
Yes, I think that's the first thing
Yeah.
to do.
and tools should be properly placed on the board and labeled.
Label.
Kanang board na pasabutan na kay katutong bitayanan nila.
Okay.
Magbitay-bitay lang kay para plaster sila.
That's right.
Okay, consider drawing the shapes of the tools on the board so that they always get back in the same position.
I
And
get the idea to this, Mamahalia, because
Yes.
there are lots of tools and
That is
materials.
correct.
Nga murag pare-pareha nagdagway,
Exactly,
different
pero-
sizes.
Then, lahi ra ba
Ay,
sila
ay.
gamit po.
especially the screwdrivers and the like.
Yeah.
Yes, there are
A lot
many
of
types
types.
of drivers.
Yes.
That's right.
All right, now we will move to your activity, which is just an
Okay,
essay
good luck,
question.
learners.
Okay, of course, they have the same criteria. Just be guided with that criteria, and of course, you will have a very good score. Stay tuned because we will be right back after a short break. This is still Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we're back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
All right, now we will move to our TLE 9, which focuses on bread and pastry production
Yes.
qualification, and our learning competency
Yes,
is
to prepare sponges or sponge and cakes. Alright.
particularly we will be talking about the selection of required oven temperature to bake goods in accordance with desired characteristics, standard recipe specification, and enterprise
And
practices. So
Okay, that's
basically, we will be talking this afternoon about oven temperature. Kay kung
Okay.
magdepende man good ang kainit sa oven kung
Sa
unsa ang ato
ato
ang
i-bake.
i-bake.
Of
That's
course.
right.
That's right. Okay, so,
So,
baking temperature, your oven is one of the most important variables in determining the outcome of your baked products, of course. So setting the right temperature of your oven is important not only for determining baking times, but it will also affect the quality of the baked products. of
Exactly.
course.
How will we know the exact baking temperature or oven temperature in baking? So that actually is included in every recipe. So sa recipe, kung unsay nakabutang sa recipe, dapat mo to siya i-follow so that you can achieve the correct quality of the
your
product.
ones.
And we also have the so-called preheating.
Okay.
So when we say preheating, sa pangalan pa lang naan niya nga heating.
Pre means
So
before.
before, exactly.
Heating.
So ang pasabot lang anak class is that imo siyang kung mag-bake ka, before nimo isulod ang imong i-bake nga product, dapat na-achieve na sa imong oven ang iyahang desired
Desired
na
na
temperature. So
temperature.
imo siyang i-ondaan before nimo ibutang diretso si
Okay.
imuhang gi-bake.
Yes.
I think it would be a lot easier also to bake if we will do that, the preheating.
Yes.
Now on your SLM there is baking temperature and time, which is standard, but of course it may vary also to the type of recipe. So when we say cupcake, kasagaran ng temperature nga
350.
ginakahanglan na makita sa inyong mga SLM, and of course the baking
Time, alright? So if it requires 15 to 25 minutes or 20 or over.
1
So
hour,
makita niyo
yes,
dira
one
lain-lain
hour.
og klase sa cake type, lain-lain mo sila oven temperature nga kinahanglan o and also their baking time.
That's right.
Okay, alright.
And
So
of course,
their task is
activity.
actually to discuss the importance of preheating the oven.
oh, Sir James mentioned that.
Yes, a while
Yeah.
ago.
So
A
if
while
you're
ago.
listening, I know for sure you can answer that one. That is
Yes.
very easy to
20
you.
points.
I was also
and-
listening to him
Yes.
about
Thank
that
you,
preheating.
Pinky.
20 points and you're good to go.
Alright.
Alright, so we will now proceed or move on to our TLE 10. And
Hello,
that
grade
is
10
housekeeping
learners.
10. So our learning competency is to select and set up equipment and materials. And
Uh-uh.
our specific task is to identify the different cleaning equipment.
Because you cannot select what type of equipment you will be using if wala ka nakaila sa mga
That's
cleaning
right.
equipment. So first hand yun nga kinahanglang makaila sila kung unsa ang mga nagkalain-laing equipment nga ginagamit sa
Yes.
housekeeping.
Example, we have the floor scrubber or the floor polisher.
All right.
I think we know this as vacuum, something like that.
No,
It's a
vacuum
different
cleaner
thing.
is
Oh, it's a
different.
thing.
Actually,
For
as you
polishing.
can see in your SLM, the name is floor scrubber / floor polisher
Floor
because it depends on its use. Na pwede magud siya maka-scrub nga murag
Ah.
brush, pwede pud siya maka-polish for
Pasinaw.
tiled floors nga katong murag
Yes.
cloth lang yang gamit. Depende sa paddle nga i-attach sa
That's
ubos.
right.
Makita ninyo sa inyong SLM ang picture sa usa ka floor scrubber or
Or
floor
polisher.
polisher. So, kung tiled floors ang inyuhang i-polish, ang gamiton ana is of course the polisher pad. Kung ang inyuhang floor kay inyong pasinawon using
Tapos
the
the wood.
scrubber
Okay.
or kanang dili lang tiled nga floors nga cement floors
Kanang
lang
kahoy. Kanang
or kahoy
hardwood.
ba kaha mo na si scrubber atong gamiton murag
Yes.
brush ang iyahang paddle nga ibutang.
I see.
All right.
Okay,
So the next, we also have the upholstery steam cleaner, which is used to clean upholsteries in hotels and resorts such as your carpet. And then we also have
The high pressure washer.
kabalo mo ani mo na siya kasagaran
Sa
gamiton
car
sa car
wash.
wash
Yes.
or sa motor wash.
That's right.
Kani siya pud sa hotel gamiton siya para sa mga pathways kaya kanang mga lumot-lumot ma'am hoy siya gamiton kay para at the same time
Pressurized.
matangtang.
Yes,
Yes.
it's easy to take
Also,
out the
yes.
dirt.
We also have the carpet shampoo machines. What is-
Panglimpyo sa carpet. Kaya of
Yeah.
course, si carpet, dili man nato malabhan kaysa kadako niya.
Yes,
So,
it's heavy as well.
So,
It's heavy.
limpyuhon siya as is, kung asa siya nakabutang, dito na siya limpyuhan. So, kana si carpet shampoo machine, mo na siya gamit niya. Siya tiglimpyo sa mga carpet.
Wala po
Especially,
siya o vacuum cleaner, Sir James, no?
yes, pero maggawas na siya og steam nga
Yeah,
na
oo.
ang specific nga shampoo nga gigamit ana. And of
Yes,
course,
this will give
lastly,
us,
Okay, dili
to the
palibak si vacuum cleaner.
so
I think
katong
this
gingon
one
ni
is the
ma'am,
most common.
yes, katong gingon ni Ma'am Haya kaganiya nga vacuum cleaner, ang kanang vacuum plastic suyop. Na siya vacuum. Ang musuyop siya sa mga abog-abog ug uban pa mga hugaw nga nasa salog or even other surfaces nga nasa hotel. Magdepende pod sa iyahang nozzle nga imong gamiton. Na siya para sa loob, na ay para sa ceiling, na ay para sa mga furniture surfaces and the lights.
Okay, so at least karon maybe learners you are just imagining of these tools and materials, but who knows, right?
Actually, if you will
Soon.
be, if we are having our face-to-face classes right now, nakagamit na mo ni floor polisher and
Yes.
vacuum cleaner because our school have those.
Oh,
But we don't have the others. Kaya wala man po may carpet.
okay.
So, in
So?
your SLM, the direction is just to identify
Yes.
the different cleaning
Cleaning
equipment.
equipment.
And you're good to go. You will get perfect score.
Kaya nasa SLM ang mga
Good luck,
pictures.
learners. So, we are done with our English and TLE lessons.
So our junior high school learners, your final and third attendance marker is now flashed
top
on
of
your screen.
Yes.
Alright, so we would like to thank people who made this, of course, Astral Academy possible. To our
Possible.
executive producer, Sir Gus Seppi, and of course to the entire production
Thank you
team.
so much.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you.
This has been Mama Halia from Santa Maria National High School.
And I am your Ma'am Pinky Del Castillo of Sumirap National High School.
And this has been teacher James Marquis Saporno of Sumirap National High School saying continue learning and hashtag shine Tanggub Stars. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Bye.
Bye.
See you again next week, same time. Thank you.